Hi, everybody. I just want to talk to you real quick about. I went to this event. Well, I was sitting at a table. I went to an event as a guest, and I was sitting at a table after the event. Just some context. I was in Hawaii, just sitting at a table, and some leaders they came and sat down. My husband was sitting there, and they came and sat down and talked to my husband. So I was just sitting there, and I was thinking about my husband's asking me, what do you think? What do you think? And so I noticed that the leaders were very cold and standoffish, and they didn't talk to their people. And so this was Hawaii. So you're in a more relaxed environment. People were vacationing, they're enjoying being there. It's a beautiful environment. And I just noticed that there was a lot of tension. People were not talking to each other. So for me, I think when leaders get their people out of the office into a vacation environment, it's a great opportunity to build relationships. But leaders should be building relationships with their people all the time, right? And so what I mean is, I want to see what their thoughts are. What are their hopes and dreams? What do they love to do? What are their families doing? And that was not happening. And so I was telling my husband, this is a great opportunity. This is a perfect time to get to know your people, especially, people who sell. You got to find out what motivates them. Everybody's not motivated by the same thing. And so this conversation was happening, and I was thinking, interesting. So what I noticed is that this gentleman, he was the highest leader at the table at this time. And so he started telling everybody at the table, the gentleman, I was just sitting there, his story. He was telling people why he was telling them why he was the way that he was. And it was very interesting. You judge a book by a cover. You see one thing and you think, okay, why is he so standoffish? Why is he not talking to his people? Why is he so quiet? And I thought, maybe he's an introvert. Maybe he's an introverted leader and he's super quiet. This is how he does things. And I thought, interesting, But when he sat down at the table, he was somebody different. He immediately started to talk about his life and what had happened. He has an amazing story, right? And sometimes we miss somebody great or somebody brilliant or a leader who maybe has taken too long to let his guard down and really find out who his people are, who's working for him, and they find out who he is and what he's been through. So his conversation made him more human. Things that was very important for his staff, the people that see him every single day. These things that he said were very important to know why he was the way that he was. And some very interesting observations that he made himself. For example, we all, they work in the South, and so people in the South are typically more trusting, they're more talkative, they're more friendly, and so he came from, I think he said New Jersey. So they're not like that at all, is what he said. And I thought, interesting. You come to the South. He's been here, I want to say he's been here 40 years. But anyway, he was still different. He was still like where he said he came from. But it's interesting. It's good to know somebody's story. So we should be more than glad to sit down and talk to people and connect with people on a human level, not just professionally, because you need to know people, what their story is, what's going on in their homes. For example, I'll just say this. If you have somebody that you're taking care of, maybe they have a disability, maybe they have an illness, maybe they have, you're taking care of a child with disability, whatever it is, you have something going on in your home, or you have, creative ability, you have things that you're working on, things that you love, things that you're passionate about. It's good to tell people so people can get to know you. They can know that you're human, that you're not just this, person who's at the job 60 hours a week and, they don't have personality. We all have personality. We all have things that we want to do. We all have things that really, really, really make us happy. We're all working towards something. We all have our own why. But as leaders, if we don't stop, especially in an environment like a vacation environment or a more relaxed environment, if we don't stop and listen, if we don't stop and ask questions. And so I noticed that the whole time we were in Hawaii, some were strangers, some knew each other, some not not to know each other that well, but they were asking questions. And this is really how you get to know somebody. Not like an interrogation. It wasn't like that. It was like genuinely trying to get to know people in a relaxed environment. People that you were going to spend, 4 days with or 5 days with. You get a chance to ask them questions. You get to find out who they really are. But it connects you on a deeper level when you're able to, as a leader, if you're able to facilitate the conversation. If you're not a leader, you're still able to facilitate the conversation. You allow people to let their guard down and really show people who they truly are, and it deepens the connection. The relationships will be better because you see a person, you understand their story, you see where they come from, you see what they're working towards, and so you find out if they have a family or not. You find out, their educational background or whatever it is, things that are important to them, they share. And so it was just a very interesting conversation. So if you are a leader determined to figure out a way, especially in a relaxed environment, how can you get to know your people better? How can you build a connection? How can you one-on-one or in a very small group get to know the people that are there? And then let them know things about yourself too. So you shouldn't have things, and I get it, certain things should be private, right? But there's certain things that you should want your people to know so they understand you better. And so it kind of reduces the judgments that people make or assumptions people make about you because they just don't know, and they don't know because you didn't tell them, So leaders, we have work to do. We have to figure out how to get in situations or create situations where we can we could tell people our story, and we can listen to our people. We can listen to their story and what has happened to them. I think we have too many walls up in a professional environment where we don't know people that we work with. And so people don't respect us, or people don't understand, the reason why we are the way that we are, or we don't understand they're the reason why they are the way that they are. But there's a story. We all have a story. And I mean, the truth is, because we're human, we've all experienced something on a very major level, whether it's illness, whether it's, divorce, whether it's, some type of tragedy, trauma. We all have our story. We've experienced things, divorce. We have experienced things because we're living. So that is a commonality we all experience, we all face. And so it's something that we can share. We can use that to build one way to build connections. But it could be hobbies as well. If we all like to play golf, we all like to read, or whatever it is, you don't know until you start talking to people, and so just food to think about, food for thought. Just really think about how can you connect better with your people. Or if you are not a leader, or you don't see yourself as a leader, you are, but if you don't consider yourself to be a leader, figure out how can you connect with people? How can you share your story? How can you ask people questions and really be cognizant, really be present while they tell you their story, while they answer questions that probing questions you might ask, or you ask their thoughts about something. So just something to think about.